This is India. A country that is just as often loud, raucous, and wonderfully unpredictable as it is sublime. Home to 5 million street food carts, 10 million more chai stands, and 200 million horns. This is Meherwan Irani, former car salesman turned James Beard-nominated chef and restaurateur. This year he decided it was time to bring his Carolina boys to India. James Grogan, chef at Chai Pani Asheville and Indian neophyte. Daniel Peach, chef of Chai Pani Decatur and the Hindi-speaking veteran. And yours truly, Michael Files, tasked with filming these madmen as they hit 10 cities in 11 days. By planes, trains, and cycle rickshaws, eating everything in sight along the way. So sit back and enjoy the ride. This is Chai Pani's Cutting Chai.
Hello. So we're going to Mussoorie. Famous for schools, famous for English schools, famous for amazing views. It's only an hour from there though. And my favorite is Desi-Chinese.
We were heading to the hill town of Mussoorie, and Meherwan's cousin Matu took us on this mountain road that crept all up the mountain, and he was driving like a maniac the whole time.
He said he was taking it easy for us, and it was still terrifying.
Of course, we had to stop and get a snack, so we pulled into what is known as a Maggie Point.
They're called Maggie Points, and actually these two guys were actually having bowls of Maggie noodles. All they sell are Maggie noodles and chai, but they're dotted every 100 meters along this road, and what they actually are like make-out points.
Young couples go there to get away from their overbearing parents and make out. They call them Maggie Points because they serve these Maggie noodles, which are like the brand in India of instant noodles. It was cool because I got an order of Maggie noodles, and the guy like chopped up fresh veggies and like put it in there. He like gussied it up a little bit. It still basically tasted like instant noodles, but it had some like fresh ingredients.
It was good.
It was good, yeah.
We'll have chai, jinte meeting, Maggie.
Chai finished, we drove up the hill and finally reached the misty town of Mussoorie.
Mussoorie is a classic representation of a British hill station. The British in India, in the summertime, to get away from the stifling heat, built residences up in the hills and mountains of India, and they were called hill stations. So we, of course, wanted to live it up like the British Raj and went about to find ourselves a hotel that was a classic representation of the colonial lifestyle of the British.
Meherwan just has like a nose for luxury. And sure enough, he found this like old kind of colonial hotel that had been remodeled. So we went there and had scotch and snacks.
Yeah.
And it was great.
That is delicious.
When in Rome.
In Rome. This is also the story of Mussoorie. In places like this, because there was a hill station. It was where the British and the rich came to have their little summer residences so they can get away from the heat. And this is a quintessential example of what that lifestyle was like for the. So like this is also part of India's story. So pretty cool.
So don't be mad at us for drinking scotch.
Exactly. We're not bourgeois.
We rejoined Daniel, who had been hanging out with this guy, and headed down the winding streets to our Desi-Chinese lunch. But as it turns out, the street was an absolute gauntlet of chatwalas, and naturally, we had to try it all. That corn was actually not that great. Meherwan loved it because it was like reminiscent of his childhood. It was like a kalachana chaat, and it was good. It was like lemony. I'd never really had anything like it.
Dude, it's fucking awesome.
Is it?
That's crazy. That's a momo, a roadside momo. Actually, the chutneys look more amazing. Green chilies with tomatoes and mint, and red chilies with garlic. Wow. So that's pretty standard. That's like a steamed pot sticker. This, amazing.
This guy was a little dodgy. Huge brass pot of like gruel.
So it's basically a chaat made out of chickpea. So it's basically warm, but not hot.
Meherwan was eating everything that day.
But that one gave him pause. He was like, I don't really trust this. Having thoroughly gluttoned ourselves in the street, we finally made it to our destination, Kalsang, home of Desi-Chinese food.
Kalsang was awesome.
It was very like American. It was Cokes being served, and there's like Katy Perry playing.
Oh, Katy Perry.
Desi-Chinese is basically like Tex-Mex in America. It's like half Chinese, half Indian food.
Definitely not good for you. It's not always healthy, but it's a big part of the street food scene. A lot of kids, you know, when they get out of class, will go out for some noodles.
If you ever spend enough time in India, you'll have it and you'll love it.
It's so good.
It's so good. Yeah.
I mean, we all grew up eating American Chinese. We love it, and it's the same in India. I mean, everyone loves Desi-Chinese. It's not Chinese food. It's definitely not American Chinese food. It's Indo-Chinese, Desi-Chinese.
It's like the worst yet best Chinese at the same time.
As it should be.
As it should be.
After we ate, we found a group of guys playing carom in the streets, which is like an Indian board game. I went up and played with them, and they just schooled us. It felt like going to play basketball in a pickup game in Harlem. Everybody's really good. It's really intimidating. You look like an idiot, but it's fun.
Mussoorie was awesome though. That was probably like one of the highlights of the trip for me was going to Mussoorie.
Me too.
We basically like spent the perfect day there, and like we walked back down like right as the sun was setting.
The rolling fog, it was just like coming up over the mountain. It was so picturesque.
Remember we had chai like right as it was getting dark.
It was perfect.
It was so fun, like little vacay within a vacay kind of thing.